Welcome to Discover Indie Film. I'm Jeff Howard, and I've got two people with me right now on Zoom. I've got Jeff Moore and Nicole Maydar. Hey, you two.
Hey, how's it going?
It's going well. We're on Zoom because I'm in Los Angeles. You're both in New York, Astoria to be specific, Queens to be a little less specific, right? But
yes, yes, Astoria, Queens here.
Before we started recording, I disciplined myself and did not mention any of the people I know in Queens because let's face it, it's too big. You don't know.
It is.
Queens is a big place, and the likelihood would be pretty slim.
It'd be ridiculous, especially because, and generationally, there was no chance. But wonderful to have you.
Glad to be here.
The two of you are on here because you collaborate on the film Timings.
Yes.
In fact, Timings, I should say, Jeff was the director and producer, and Nicole was also a producer. You actually have three credited producers. I guess the other producer is the writer, Ricky.
Yes, Ricky was our third producer. So he was unable to make it today, but that's our third teammate.
So safe to say a friendly production. Three basically three friends collaborating on it.
Three friends, and funny enough, Nicole and I are married, so a married producing couple here.
I guess you got an extra laugh out of me because, of course, with Zoom it looks like you could be like in completely separate homes.
Yeah, we're just in two separate rooms.
Oh, you know what? That was actually very smart because when there's a couple on, so I've done that before, and then like people they're crowded together like in front of the same laptop, and it's not as good.
Yeah, we did a podcast like 6 months ago, and it was the three of us, and we tried doing it together, and it was just too many people in the frame. So let's just do it this way.
Well, see, look at this. Well, that's proof that Nicole's an excellent producer because that's a good production decision. I'm gonna give it to the producer, not the director on that one.
Absolutely. I'm sitting in the main room. She went in the that was
That's right. All right. Well, so you're here to talk about Timings, and you're on this. I will add the caveat that well, maybe I shouldn't say this for the whole world here, but you had the moxie. I'm going to call it the moxie. You emailed about being on this podcast, and I was like, well, normally I only have people on the podcast who have come from the festivals I run.
Yep.
But there was something about your vibe. I was like. You're willing to you want to hop on the podcast and like it'll have nothing to do with the festivals or anything, and it's just you're just an indie filmmaker with an indie film on the festival circuit, and now I'm just gonna say, if anyone heard me say that, if I said no to you, because I do say no like to almost everyone who asked to be on the podcast who hasn't come through, in the end, I guess you just have to have the same name as me, spelled the same way, and that's the exception.
That's a big help, I guess.
Because Jeff Moore and I are both Jeffries, who go by Jeff, and that'll be my excuse for being rude to anyone else who asks.
No, we appreciate you having us on. We're glad to be here and talk about it, and knowing that even we don't know the outcome of the festivals. I think we do know the outcome of Film Invasion already, but and that's we're just excited to be here and just be able to talk and get the film out there a little bit more to maybe a few people and just kind of do this.
Because you are obviously you are still on the festival circuit and you're showing it around. It's well, do you want to state what the film's about?
Yeah, absolutely. So Timings is about 7 friends who go out one evening. One friend is heading off on a cruise contract gig, so it's like their last night out together. And it's told through 7 different perspectives, 7 different chapters. And it's about each person learning about themselves, who they are, their friends, and what it's like to grow up in your 20s in New York City. So it's a big New York City film, and it's coming of age, and it's just kind of all these things come to a head in one evening, and that's the gist of the movie, and it's kind of a little love story to New York, and us growing up in our 20s here in New York, and kind of different things we experienced, and just kind of adding those moments into the film as well.
And is it a situation where you knew Ricky in advance and he wrote and he showed you the script and it resonated for you both?
Yeah, so what was interesting was how this kind of thing completely came about was I Nicole and I both had known Ricky for what would you say about 15 years or so at least.
It's around 12, 12
Well,
to
maybe
15.
12
Yeah.
yeah, 12 to 15 years. And but like 3 years ago, I'd always wanted to make a feature film. That was always my goal. I came from music videos, but I always wanted to do a feature. So 3 years ago, I told Rick, I was like, listen, man, I just need to make a movie. Like it's time to either do this or just shut the hell up and never make one. So he was like, "Hey, I got this web series that he'd been working on it for about, 12, 13 years." And he sent it to me and I was like, "Okay, I like this. This is, it's very interesting. I definitely reflect with some of the characters. Why don't instead of a web series, because I've never been a huge fan of web series, I was like, let's make this into a film, but let's make it chapters instead." So yeah.
So it's funny because that is a classic suggestion. I might have made that suggestion to people a ton of times. Like,
Mhm.
why are you like at the indie level, why
Mhm.
make a short and or a web series when you could like actually make like you didn't have to do it here because you got your act together and made it as a feature.
Mhm.
But like why not make 7 shorts over the course of a amount of time that add
Yeah.
up to a feature, which sounds like it's in a way what you did, but they're all set
Yeah.
in the same location. So that
Yeah.
made
Yeah.
so obviously you wanted to do it all at once.
Yes, exactly. So yeah, that's how the whole thing came about. But I mean, yeah, Ricky's kind of been working on this for quite a while, and it's kind of just a matter of we had the right conversations at the right time, and this was what was kind of ready to go, and we were really excited to make it happen.
Well, excellent. And I believe you've got a screening coming up sooner than this podcast will get released. But
Probably, yes.
I hope it goes very well for you and that
Yeah.
there's more coming.
Yeah, we got a few down the line after this one, hopefully. So we're about at the re time of this recording, we're about probably two-thirds of the way through our run. We'll
Yeah.
be kind of running through about um, October, November, I think are our last like notification dates for any festival. So we're gonna do that, and then we're currently in the midst of attempting to piece together and figure out the world of distribution.
It is a tricky world. All right, well,
Yes.
Mhm.
I'm gonna take that as my segue to ask
Mhm.
about you both personally, because if you listen to the podcast, I always ask people what got them into filmmaking,
Mhm.
and Jeff already mentioned music video, but why don't we get Nicole's story
Yeah,
so because I want to
Sure.
hear Nicole's voice more anyway. So
Oh, thank
what
you.
were you a creative kid? Were you a film buff? Well,
Yes.
what got you
So
into it?
for me, I was less in film growing up. I was more in theater. And then I met Jeff and we started together as like coworkers and friends. And I would help him out with projects. And then, we got together and all those things. But I've basically been his number two on any of like the film adventures that he's had while we've, kind of been partners throughout this life here. So I've just been assisting him and I went from not knowing what a C stand was to helping him produce a feature film. So it's been a lot of fun to learn a new type of art form that is not necessarily live theater one and done. This is something that you can make and keep and kind of live with for a really long time, which has been really interesting.
And by that you mean you were like a theater kid? You were one of those kids who were involved in
I
theater
was
through school and
I was wearing black clothes standing behind the drape. But yes, so I was always a stagehand. So I started, and I performed too, but I was mostly a stagehand. I did that throughout high school, and I actually went to college for theater tech and design. And then I moved to New York City, and everything was going super well. And then pandemic, and here we are in film. So
oh well, so you're not a native of New York. Where'd you grow up?
no, Connecticut,
Connecticut. Oh,
not far,
so
right up the
which
line.
I don't think it's insulting to say which is kind of a suburb of New York.
Not insulting at all. No,
Yeah, yeah.
we're right
Because
there.
you can just hop on a train
Yeah.
even if you're not old enough, even if you don't have a car, you can make it
Yeah.
down and like go to a Broadway show and
Yeah.
pay almost nothing to get a last minute seat and stuff, right? So
Yeah. I remember I asked my mom my senior year of high school if I could go to the city with a friend. And she said yes. And my mind was blown. And then I realized I'm like, it's like I'm getting on the bus to go to school. I'm just hopping on a train to go to the city to see a show and come home. Like it's, you
yeah,
know,
she wasn't too worried that you were going to mug people while you were in that.
no,
Yeah,
no, I would never.
but well, what if you needed to get no? So anyway, so really, so you had a love of theater,
Yes.
including performing, but you
Yeah.
you were drawn to the technical side of it too.
Yep.
And then you met this music video guy,
Yeah. I
and
did.
then it was probably a quick learn, huh?
It was once I understood that a lot of it is very similar. It all kind of clicked. It's organizing, it's preparing, it's making lists of what you need and executing and timelines, and it's all the same.
All the same. And then the experience, right? It's I'm always fascinated by the difference in the experience because the
Yeah.
live stage thing is so immediate with the audience,
Yes.
but you walk out and it's done.
Yeah.
And all you can do is tell your friends, no, really, you missed something really good.
Yeah.
Whereas with film, you put all that time and effort into it, and all you get is, test audience friends and things like as you go, but it's literally, but then you end up with something that you can show people for the next 30 years.
Yeah. Yeah. Because for me, a lot of the times during this process, I got really involved in the process to a point where, like, I wasn't thinking 5 months ahead. I was thinking 5 weeks ahead, but maybe not 5 months ahead. And all of a sudden we have this film, and I'm like, wow, we did it. We have a great film because I'm used to theater. Wow, we did it. Let's go strike it and take it down and never think about this again. And now I'm like, oh, we have to think about this film every day for probably the rest of our lives, distribution and festivals and all of these different things, that it's just really cool to see the longevity and the life that a film can have outside of what theater is able to do.
For sure. And I guess it's not wrong of me to say that even the script itself of timings, it feels a little like a stage play, right? Like this, like
Yep.
there could have been an argument, right? You could have,
Mhm.
It
well,
was actually originally written way back in the day as a staged play, and I think Ricky did attempt to execute it, and then we just realized there's a lot of jumping in time and different segments of things that it didn't flow too well, but it was originally written as a stage play because that's where he comes from as well. He comes from a big theater background, so it's very heavy dialogue driven, which you find a lot of plays to be. So
for
Yeah, I think
sure.
one of the first read-throughs actually was when he was trying to get it made into
yeah.
as a stage play. The first read-through 10 years ago was with that. So that's yeah, it could have very much been, in that realm as well.
Well, and was it your idea as a team to throw it on screen, or had Ricky already come to that conclusion?
I think he'd already kind of came to that conclusion by kind of then pushing it into the idea of a web series, and then, when I, came to him and was like, hey, let's make a movie. That's when he was okay. Yeah, I have this, but we might just need to rework some things to make it into a feature as opposed to a 7-part web series.
Yeah, for sure. In fact, that is a yeah, seriously. I mean, that would have been an interesting question for him, but it's okay. He's not here.
He's not.
Because it is so interesting the different, in fact, of all the crazy things very recently. Well, we had Fringe here in LA recently,
Mhm.
and I went to a Fringe stage performance of a musical based on a horrible film from the 80s. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I really do love the crossover between
Mhm.
film and stage, and
Yeah.
of course, and now TV is completely, there's no such thing as TV. Now it's web and
Yeah.
streaming and other things, and it
Yeah.
it it's completely genre busting, right? No
Mhm.
longer do you have to chop it into 22-minute things.
No, you can do almost whatever you
Yeah.
whatever
Anything
whatever
you
you
want.
want, whatever time frame you want. You want one episode to be 30 minutes, the next one to be an hour, whatever. It's
Yeah.
it's very interesting right now with the medium of like all the different ways you can tell a story, and instead of having the 22-minute, timestamp, or 55, whatever, if you're doing an hour show. Like it's very interesting, but it's also can be overwhelming for viewers because there's just so much content and so many different things. It's like you want to sit down and watch one thing, but then you realize, oh shoot, this is a mini series, or this is just season one, and then it's okay, am I going to invest in this completely, or you know
No,
but
for sure. And for artists, right, sometimes being told the box, all right, here's the box. You actually have to, if you want this to be a series, you've got to do 10, 22-minute
Mhm.
episodes with a Bible for what happens afterwards. And that would have been
Yeah,
really those constraints sometimes lead to creativity, whereas when it's
yeah.
like,
Yeah.
I think I can't remember which, but I remember like on a streaming service watching a series and like each episode was a different length and that was shocking.
Mhm. Yeah, it always throw you off a little bit, and
Yeah,
then
now it's
but
like
now it's
normal. It's
normal.
like,
Yeah.
wow, now writers actually have to write it as well as possible
Hmm.
for the length it should be.
Yeah.
Hmm.
A lot harder than just cramming
Mhm.
it in, being like, well, whatever, I got to cut this out. I got to get to 22 pages. So sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry, that scene goes. They're not having coffee anymore. Well, and did the
Yeah.
three of you sit down together with the script for the adaptation to feature?
Yeah, yeah, we had all kind of sat down and like discussed a lot of it, and kind of looked over and saw kind of what worked as, a web series, and then also then what worked as a feature, and mainly, Ricky, he finalized the script, and then the three of us sat down and, gave our notes, and he kind of then started to move forward with the pre-production at that point in time.
Right, right. And actually, I don't know if you were aware of this, Jeff. You got cheated. I didn't get your life story. I didn't get your history. Were you for you, did the arts kick in as a young person?
It did. I started filming stuff when I was like 14, 15 years old. Had a camera, and it was just me and my buddies just shooting random things, trying to recreate Jackass or do this or that. It was just fun. We had a really good time, and that got me really interested in the editing process and doing this. And then I started making these little shorts in high school, and just got very, very interested. And then I also, had a love for music. Can't play an instrument, but I love music. So in high school, I was like, oh, why don't I try to do a music video? So I grew up in Ohio. So I reached out to a bunch of bands in Columbus and was like, hey, I'm this kid. I've never done a music video, but I would love to shoot one for you. And then finally one got back to me and was like, yeah, sure, let's do it. So my senior year of high school was making my first music video, and then, went to college, and then, started my own production company, and been specializing in music videos for the past 20 years. And, it's kind of taken a dip down after COVID. Not as many bands, want to shoot music videos and do this or that. So that's when I was like, okay, it's time to, try to do a film. Because I was like, growing up when I first started making things, it was okay. I want to make a movie. I mean, I remember I saw Goodfellas for the first time, and I saw Reservoir Dogs for the first time, and I was like, oh shit, that's really cool. I would love to make something, you know, in that world, and it just really drew me in, and just been kind of at it ever since. So yeah, it was something I grew up with, and luckily had very supportive parents. They were like, nope, let's have you do this, let's do it. So it's been it's been an interesting ride, and fun along the way.
I love I don't know if you'd call it genre of music video, but I just love the art form of music
Mhm.
video. I'm
Yeah.
I'm quite old and I grew up, when music video was born,
Hmm.
back when it was really just a wonderful art form,
Oh yeah.
and record labels poured tons of money into making like
Oh, so much.
feature film quality music videos.
Yeah.
And
No,
then I end up running a film festival, and we throw in a music video category, and sometimes people actually send in a single
mhm.
shot of a fixed camera on a tripod and the band on stage at a small club. And I'm
Okay.
like, I get it. That can be your music video,
That can be, yeah.
but you're submitting it to a film festival? Is it?
Yeah, I don't know. Like,
How
A
about a
GoPro in
cut?
the corner.
yeah.
How about telling a story too? But then we get
Yeah.
some wonderful ones.
Oh,
I have to ask, Jeff, I got to ask you a random
mhm.
Ohio question, which is
Yeah.
you grew up in Ohio and you loved music and music video. Have you ever heard of Gil Mantero's Party Dream?
I have not.
Okay.
I have not.
All right. We had an amazing documentary about that band that one of
Uh-huh.
the best bands that didn't make it is
Oh,
kind of the
interesting.
story. And they
Okay.
were Ohio based. And
Hmm.
anyway, I thought
Interesting.
maybe as a music guy you'd be like,
I
oh my God, I saw them 100 times.
no, I never even heard of them, so I'll have to check them out and see kind of what that's about.
The pride of Youngstown, I think. I think it
Okay,
is.
Okay.
gotcha. Nice.
Anyway, all right. Well, that was a random effort. So excellent. And so it actually sounds like COVID did. Is this like a film that happened most like did COVID cause this film to happen more efficiently than had it not? Because it sounds like both of you,
No,
because of what COVID did,
indirectly,
just
yes.
yeah, like
Yeah, we both found ourselves at the point in the lives that we were because COVID had affected both of our full-time careers that we had going on. So I think like indirectly, yes. I
indirectly
don't want
it
to give it a
created
lot
a
of credit,
window,
but
right? It created a window where you could do
yeah.
a passion project. And during lockdown, it made sense to like
Mhm,
turn internal and say, well, I can do anything I want right now because the world shut down
mhm,
Yeah,
and
because for
timings
us,
is
I
what you
think
wanted to do.
yeah, I think we started after, everything came back, but I think we had that drive in us to create something because of what we had gone through. So like luckily we didn't have like a lot of restrictions. We were able to like easily rent spaces, have multiple people in a room without any, you
yeah,
know, OSHA, what were the OSHA certified people, present or anything like that. We weren't in that realm.
yeah,
But I do think we found ourselves in that point in our lives because of, everything that happened with COVID.
Right.
yeah,
And
yeah,
it,
'cause- yeah, definitely the case. Yeah, I hadn't actually thought about that too much, but that's 100% right. Because I mean, right before COVID, I was also a freelance cam op here in the city, and work was booming before COVID, and then COVID hit, and a lot of the broadcast jobs kind of went down a little bit, and I definitely found myself trying to figure out what it is I'm supposed to do now, like how to either reroute my career path or this or that. So I think the few years after COVID kind of got lifted, it just was kind of a burning idea of creating something like this that we can do, and finally doing the thing that I always wanted to set out to do, and then having Nicole and Ricky jump on board, and having that same passion and love for trying to make a movie was fantastic.
well, I don't want to get morbid, but we all got reminded that
Yeah,
time is limited.
yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
And if your whole life you really wanted to get a feature made,
Hmm.
you got
Yeah,
quite, you got the universe literally told you, hey,
yeah,
my God, you two were in New
mhm,
York and New York got hit. I remember how New York
yeah,
got hit at the beginning. Oh my goodness.
yeah. It was definitely rough, and yeah, you're right. It was definitely whether we realized it or not at the time, definitely a wake up call of, yeah, like, hey, you want to do something,
Yeah.
do it.
What are you
Yeah.
waiting for?
Yeah.
What are
Wait
we
for, I
waiting for?
Right?
was waiting for money, but money never came. So I was just like, okay, let's not worry about that anymore.
That's true.
That's right. So originally the script had everyone on a space station.
Yeah,
And then
exactly. We
and then you changed your mind and said, you know what, it'd be easier if we did a nightclub kind of thing.
exactly. Yeah, the space station rave party wasn't quite affordable. Would have been cool
Mm.
though.
Nowadays, no, for sure. All right, so was it a situation where you put in a good amount of like was it a long pre-production thing once you decided to do this? Did you cast friends? Did you do open casting?
Yes.
And I want
So
Nicole to answer. I
yes,
got to pull
let's
your voice
go.
in more.
So we definitely started the three of us, and the first thing we did was ask, what other friends do we want involved? Like who else that we know could lend something to this project do we want involved? So we looped in our friend VJ, who ended up being our unit production manager. We had some other friends help with moments of pre-production along the way. And then for casting, we really didn't want to cast friends because we are much older than the people that are in the script. So we wanted to be as true to that as possible because, you know, we both come from theater and film. And so we have plenty of friends that act and now they can play moms and dads. They cannot play early 20 something. So we went a little old school with the audition process. So, you know, we're throwing it back, you know, 6 years or so with having in-person auditions. So we posted on Backstage, Playbill, and the like. We got submissions, and then if we thought that the person who submitted was right for any of the parts, we would give them a time slot. So everybody came in and read cold monologue for the camera, and then whoever we wanted to have come back to do callbacks. We wanted to do callbacks in pairs because this is a very ensemble based movie. It is all about the chemistry with one another, how people read together, how they interact. So we had everybody come back and read in pairs. And that's how we were able to really decide who the best people for the roles were. So if we were to do this based on, you know, like the virtual submissions like everybody does now, we would have had a completely different cast. And I don't think the movie would have been the same. So I'm really glad we went back to like the old school way of calling people into Ripley Greer Studios and having them pair up and, you know, spending a few hours with us just reading in circles. And we were actually able to cast a lot of our secondary characters that way. There were people that came in to read for principal parts that they weren't perfect for that part, but we're like, we still love you. We love your energy. You are really kind to everybody. Let's get you involved somehow. So that's how we filled a lot of those secondary roles. So.
Yeah, and for a film all about relationships, obviously I believe they're called chemistry reads, right?
Yeah.
You ended up with a lot of chemistry reads
Yep.
until you could find out exactly who really should be breaking with whom.
Yes. Yes.
We had a couple actors, you know, that were fantastic on their own, but then when we had them read with one another, the chemistry just didn't match what we were looking for. But then we'd have somebody else read with someone, and it was like, oh shit, okay, that's who those two characters should be. So that was an interesting aspect of the casting part as opposed to just casting directly like that. It's the chemistry reads because, like Nicole says, this is such a chemistry driven film, and that was such a big part for us was trying to make these seven friends feel like real friends.
Yes.
So yeah, and after the casting, we had different outings with the cast. We take them out to the bar, have everyone get everyone a couple of rounds of drinks. Everyone kind of get to know each other and like actually form friendships before stepping on set.
Which is key, which is key.
Mhm.
Excellent. And was it dialogue heavy films? Was it a quick shoot? Was it
Yeah.
Very quick.
oh, the
Very quick.
producer gave a good yeah.
It was.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we shot it 8 days. 8 days. We did 10-hour days.
Yeah,
12.
I think crew for 12, cast for 10.
Yeah, yeah.
Right,
Because with
right.
sound guy, we couldn't go over 12.
Right. So you didn't even get in 2 weekends. It was actually like a Monday to Monday sort of thing.
Basically, yeah, we just
Yeah.
went straight. I think we went from I think we did a pre-light on, I think like a Friday night where we went in just as the crew set up. And then starting Saturday, we just did nonstop until the following Sunday or Monday, whatever that was. I think we
Mhm.
had one off day, but it was really
Yeah.
transitioning from nights to days.
Yeah.
So we'll say it was an off day, but
Yeah.
we're really resetting ourselves.
And it's hour 40. So hour 40 in 8 days.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Goodness gracious.
Yeah, it was quick, and I shot the film as well, so it was a lot of it was all handheld, with an easy rig and all that kind of stuff. So it was, we knew going in we needed to be able to shoot fast and efficient. So it was, I'd go in a couple hours, before most of the crew would show up, and I would pre-light different areas so we could just constantly be able to move throughout the evening and make it happen. And luckily we were able to also do a lot of some rehearsals with the actors, and so everyone was you know had all their lines memorized. They knew what they were doing, so it was just as efficient as possible, which is what we had to do with one such a dialogue heavy film, and then a film that loves to jump around in time. So it's trying to piece that together as well.
But obviously with your music video history and whatnot, you also, I assume, you didn't have to look far and wide for crew. You knew who
No,
you had a
yeah,
team you could trust.
yeah, exactly. And yeah, it was we had how many crew do you think we had? We probably have a five or six,
6, I want to
maybe.
say.
Yeah, six. So it was a very
Yeah.
slim crew.
Does
Um,
that include both of you?
that
No.
doesn't no.
Right.
So
So
we'd
so
be
about eight,
not nine
So
people,
8.
including the three of
because poor Nicole had to do everything on Earth, right?
us.
Like,
I was I did a lot, but not everything. Jeff did everything on Earth. I just made sure that that kept going.
well,
Made sure he kept
I
standing.
mean, when you're
Yeah.
producing an independent feature, it's just a natural
Mhm.
that that nobody does just one thing.
Yeah. Oh
If so,
yeah.
then they don't deserve
Everybody
to be
wore
there,
lots
right?
of hats. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
The only person we wanted to do one thing was our sound guy.
Yep.
Like, listen, that is what you do. Don't worry about, because again, being such dialogue heavy, and sound was our most important aspect, because I was like, I can shoot this whatever. It could look whatever, however it turns out to be. It could look amazing, but it could, if the lighting's off here and there, whatever. But if the sound's off, we're screwed.
It was
Like,
Yeah.
so,
very wise. That shows a
yeah,
lot of experience
yeah,
because, yeah, I mean,
yeah,
sound is the most expensive thing to replace later.
yeah.
Yes.
Whereas, color timing, this, that, you can do a lot with image.
Yeah,
But if you don't get production sound right, oh dear
Yeah.
Lord, with a
yeah.
dialogue heavy movie. And by the way, as someone who watches a lot of film festival submissions, I can tell you that low quality ADR,
hmm
it's it's really hard to ignore. It's really hard to
Yes.
it's funny because right, you can watch an indie film where
hmm
you can tell they shot on a budget and they didn't, I've seen a film where like the person used a shopping cart as their dolly and they made
hmm
it work.
Yeah,
And you totally forgive it. But if the
yeah,
sound is off, if they move their mouths and it doesn't
yeah.
match, there's
It's
nothing you can do with you. You can't say, "Oh, it's okay."
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yep.
exactly. That's just the one thing, and that the three of us agreed on that going in. So it was a self-funded project, but we agreed a good chunk is going to sound, because, like you said, a lot of those other things can be forgiven, but not
Yeah.
the sound. And we didn't want to put ourselves into a hole in post-production, and this whole movie kind of go down the tube because we didn't hire the right sound guy. And Leslie
Yeah.
did a incredible job, and then our mixing team, Mike Mallon and Dylan, they killed it and did such a
Yeah.
great job.
And your story is told through dialogue, right? I mean, you
hmm
didn't have the luxury of, you know, big open sets where you can use camera movement to communicate things.
hmm
The story is all dialogue in this.
hmm
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, such a heavy dialogue film. So yeah, I mean, it's all told through that, and
Yeah.
and that's another way we were able to shoot a little quicker, because it was I wanted it to feel raw, authentic, like we were just in the moment with these characters. So having the handheld and just having some just, your almost just your basic standard coverage instead of over the top shots was just what we did, just because the dialogue selling the story. And then, we poured a lot of stuff into music as well. And music helped tell the story, throughout as well.
Yeah, which is another reason why we needed really good sound in order to hear all like every single word, because you also had the music going for 98% of the film, and the music had lyrics, and we didn't want those two things to compete either in the mix. We needed it to be very clear dialogue and then very clear that this is music. This is the soundtrack. And you could hear them both, but you're not confused or overwhelmed by one or the other.
Absolutely, absolutely. And as efficient as it was to shoot that kind of dialogue thing, I imagine editing all dialogue scenes You had your own little personal Everest to climb?
Yeah, quite a bit. That was because I edited the film as well, and so that was definitely I think it took it
Because
was
I'll just say, like, editing dialogue,
mhm,
if anyone's tried it,
mhm.
it's a lot harder to get the timing of human speech right than it is
Yeah.
to get an action. Action is actually like, oh yeah,
Mhm,
that hand goes this way and that face reacts that way. Whereas human
mhm.
speech, you can kill something with poor editing.
Yeah, and it was a lot of trying to figure out, while I was editing, is just the pace and how long should we wait before the next line? Should it just be a little bit longer here? Where should this reaction come in? And all these different things. So, I mean, it was definitely a kind of wouldn't say too grueling of an editing process, but it was intense. And, I spent 7 months editing this down. And then, throughout we would, I'd get a rough cut. Nicole, Ricky, they check it out. We would then take our notes. I'd go back through. So it was, we had, obviously numerous revisions but
Mhm.
yeah, it was definitely yeah. And I didn't fully realize how like intense like dialogue heavy like editing would be because come from music it's the same thing. Like you got your action, you do this, you cut to the pace of the music, you have this, but it's dialogue is just it's you're just kind of trying to fill it out and making sure it flows and feels natural and doesn't have too many pauses, but has the right amount of pauses. But so, it's definitely that was a fun edit, interesting edit. I'm looking forward to not editing the next movie.
As I do that lame thing where I predict the end of someone's sentence, and I got that one wrong. I thought you were looking forward to the next edit, but
Uh,
and
no.
needless to say, 8 day shoot, 8 month edit tells people
Mhm.
just how intensive the editing process is.
Yeah. So yeah.
And then after that, then you do your color timing, your sound, and you hit the
Yeah.
circuit.
Yeah, and that was it. Yeah, we did that, and then I colored the film as well, and that'll be another thing that I hand off to someone else next time. But we just didn't have the budget for somebody, so I did my darndest. And then yeah, we sent it to sound they worked on it for 2 months, and then um, we started submitting September,
Yeah,
October,
very late September because we did
September
our
last year.
private screener in October,
October,
October
yeah.
11th.
So yeah,
October. Excellent. Excellent.
yeah,
And well, you also used you've said next one a couple times. So this
yeah.
experience left you wanting to do it again.
Absolutely. Yeah, 100%. We went into this one just, hey, we just want to make a movie, whatever happens, happens. And, being first-time filmmakers, in the feature film world I mean, we've learned so much, through pre-production, post, but mainly it's been this after part of the festivals and trying to figure out distribution and all that kind of stuff. And, we've kind of been a little shocked and surprised by the reception it has gotten at some of the festivals and getting into things. So we didn't expect to get into anything, and then hell, never thought we'd ever win anything either. And we've come away with a couple awards now, and we're just like, oh shit, okay, that's fantastic. But it's definitely put a we are now. It's kind of got that itch. We just like, okay,
Yeah.
we gotta do it again. We gotta do it again, slightly bigger budget and tell more stories.
And it's really fun, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I
Here
mean,
I'm putting words in your mouth, but it is fun.
So
oh,
Filmmaking.
much fun.
yeah. Yeah, we definitely had a blast. I mean, the three of us were hanging out the other day and we were just talking. We are like, we can't wait to be on set again, doing this again and going through the process. While it was daunting and, a bit exhausting, it's all worth it at the end and it's a blast and
Yeah.
that's why we do it.
Excellent, excellent. And so you haven't decided what the next one is, but oh, or maybe you have. Nicole's
Eh,
hand kind of
in a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah.
there's some there's some.
Ricky's got some stuff up his sleeve.
All
Yeah.
right, so you're
Yeah.
you're you're discussing it as a team, what to do next, and there's
Mhm.
some ideas already.
Yeah,
Mhm.
with the next one, I mean, we've got a script ready to go, and we're in the stages of, building the pitch deck and getting the budget together that so then we can, push to investors and try to raise money for this one. So that's kind of where we're at the early stages of that. So that's very exciting, and that's also a brand new venture of trying to raise money for a film. So we're gonna learn that as we go over the next however many years it takes.
And no one knows. No one knows.
Yeah.
No one, anyone, it's almost like the best advice a stand-up comedian can get is ignore everyone's advice. Because no one there is no magic formula. And no one knows what's going to work. Every film works differently in its own way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Unless you're making absolute schlock, in which case, yeah, you just need,
Yeah.
yeah. I won't. But that's more. I don't know. I think those days are gone. I think those days are gone when just a really bad slasher movie
Mhm.
with bikinis. I don't think that's magic formula anymore, is it?
I don't I don't think so. I don't know. It may come back. Who knows?
Who knows?
Yeah.
Maybe a spoof. All right. Well, I think. Oh, we just lost Nicole, but she'll probably come back. There
Hey.
you
I'm
are.
here.
Oh, no worries. No worries. Was that dog related?
Yes. She ran under our bed. She's under our
Well,
bed.
it just so happens that once we get off of here, I'm going to request that I'll have to do a screen grab to get a photo of the two of you.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of a dog person, so if you pull her up in the picture with you, it'll make it even cuter. Just
Hey,
If
saying.
there we
she
go.
comes
All right.
out from under the bed, absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. And if she won't come out, then she clearly hates being on camera.
Yeah.
Clearly.
Yeah.
All right. Well, clickable links in the show notes. I believe we'll put whatever links you want in
Yeah.
there,
Perfect.
and I will do I will finish up with a bunch of what do you call it? Hang on. And then people listening can hit the show notes,
Mhm.
find out when they can see timings next, possibly, and or of course, when you release it somewhere, feel
Yes.
free to send me an email and say, "Hey, here's a link to it on Tubi or whatever, wherever it
Yeah.
ends up, wherever, and
Absolutely.
so that someone who listens to this can be like, I'm going to check that film out."
Oh yeah. No, absolutely. I will definitely send that your way. We're hoping for a few things this fall. We got a few little things in the works. But yeah, we're hoping to be streaming by fall this year, winter at the latest.
Excellent. All right. Well, I will do my wrap up, which is, well, first, thank you, Nicole, and thank you, Jeff, for hopping on the Discover Indie Film podcast.
Yeah.
If people want to learn more, just go to discoverindiefilm.com. That's where you can learn all about the podcast and anything that grows from it. On social media, it's always at DIFWins. And I mentioned that I run film festivals. Those links for those in the show notes too. I won't go with my whole spiel because I don't know. Every once in a while you don't feel like it. So time for us to wrap up.
Yeah.
Thank
Thank you
both
so much
again.
for having us.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
really
Thank you.
appreciate it. It's been a fun chat, and yeah, hopefully engage some interest in people checking out our little indie film.
For sure. All right. Thank you both, and thank you everyone for listening.